A teacher, a student, a secret that never should have been, and a murder no one could have anticipated. It began as whispers in the hallways of the school. A rumor passed from student to student, too outrageous to believe, yet too salacious to dismiss. Text messages in the dead of night, furtive glances in class, secret trysts on the outskirts of town. And then what? A body. A crime so awful, it shattered a whole community. The question is, was it love? Or was it manipulation? And when everything fell apart, who really pulled the trigger? What you're going to hear is the true crime tale of an affair that became an affair not, but rather a cold-blooded murder. And believe me, you won't believe how it turns out. Maplewood, Ohio. A tiny, peaceful town, the sort where nothing ill ever occurs. The streets were lined with white picket fences, the local diner had the best homemade apple pie, and every Friday evening, families filled the high school football stadium to root for the Maplewood Mustangs. Folks left their doors unlocked at night. Children rode their bikes through the neighborhood until dusk, virtually unknown, until one evening altered all that. At the heart of this town was Maplewood High School, an institution of learning, athletics, and adolescent drama. But behind its walls of brick, something much more malevolent was taking place. His name was Daniel Reeves, a popular, highly regarded English teacher. The type of teacher kids admired. He brought Shakespeare to life, he took extra time with struggling students, and he never had any problems sticking around after school to assist. Parents adored him. The school honored him. But behind closed doors, Daniel Reeves held a secret that would result in murder. Emily Carter was 17 years old, a top student, a bright future, and a dream to attend New York University and study journalism. She was ambitious, driven, the type of girl who lingered in the library after hours, who never turned in an assignment late, and who hoped to become an investigative reporter one day. But she was also young, impressionable, and when Mr. Reeves became interested in her, she felt special. It began in small ways. Compliments after class, special attention, a late-night email regarding an assignment that gradually became something else. "You're special, Emily. You're different from the others. I see something in you no one else sees." At first, Emily didn't pay much mind. After all, he was her teacher. He was married, respected. But gradually, things began to shift. The emails got more personal. The afternoon school meetings were used as reasons to be left alone. And before she could do anything, she was in over her head. The teachers observed, but spoke nothing. The kids gossiped, but didn't have the guts to complain. Emily spent more time hanging around Mr. Reeves than actual friends. She'd skip meals just to go into his class. She'd stay late into the empty school hallways. She began to dress differently, wearing makeup, outfits she never had before. And then the gossip began. "Did you hear about Emily and Mr. Reeves? I saw them together after school. They looked." But Emily? She was oblivious to it all. She believed it was love. She believed he cared. She believed he'd never harm her. She couldn't have been more mistaken. One afternoon, Emily's best friend, Rachel, borrowed her phone. And what she viewed made her stomach plummet. A series of messages from Mr. Reeves. Romantic, intimate, explicit. Rachel was frozen. This wasn't a crush. This wasn't harmless flirting. This was serious. Rachel did the one thing Emily never thought she'd do. She told. She went directly to the principal, who went directly to the police. In 24 hours, an investigation was launched. Mr. Reeves was interviewed. Emily was questioned. Parents were shocked. And then, just when things couldn't possibly get worse, Emily went missing. The last anyone saw of Emily Carter, she was leaving her home at 9:47 p.m. She said she was going to a friend's house to study. She never arrived. Her phone was shut off an hour later. Her bed was empty by morning. Her car was gone. And Maplewood was soon to be a crime scene. The 911 call was at 2:13 a.m. A woman's voice. Shaking. Breathless. "There's blood all over the place. He's dead." Police responded to a motel on the outskirts of town. Room 214. They entered and found a nightmare scenario. Mr. Reeves was dead. One gunshot wound to the chest, blood on the floor, and hovering over his body, Emily. Her hands were stained with blood. Her expression was vacant. The gun? Warm to the touch. The police took Emily into custody right away. But her alibi? It didn't add up. She was claiming self-defense. She told Reeves had enticed her to the motel, that he was desperate, that he threatened her, that she didn't have a choice. But then, the forensic evidence disagreed. The gun? Not belonging to hers. The motel room? For name in the registered. The last text on Reeves' phone? Come alone. We need to talk. Sent from Emily's phone. This wasn't self-defense. This was premeditated. Emily's trial was the most sought-after piece of news in Maplewood's history. The prosecution portrayed her as a cold-blooded murderer. A scorned girl, infatuated with her teacher who couldn't bear to be replaced. The defense presented manipulation, grooming, psychological abuse. That Emily wasn't the monster, she was the victim. The jury deliberated for 6 days. The verdict, guilty. Emily Carter was given 25 years in prison. But here's the question, did she really act alone? Years later, new information emerged. A mystery witness came forward, stating that Emily wasn't alone that night. A DNA test confirmed that a third individual had been present in the motel room. And then, a letter from Emily's prison cell. One chilling sentence, "I wasn't the only one who wanted him dead." So, was Emily the sole killer? Or was there another person lurking in the background that night? One thing is for sure, the true story may still be out there. What do you think? Was Emily a cold-blooded killer, or a victim who finally snapped? Let me know in the comments section below, and if you're a fan of true crime stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more. Because in the true crime world, sometimes the truth is even more sinister than we can imagine.